Well, good morning. I'm here with Sherry Phillips today, the CEO of Forbes. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Why don't you talk a little bit about the circumstance that has us here today in Columbus?
I feel like we're here on such a historic day. JP, you and I have been at this partnership for a very long time, known each other probably for 6 or 7 years, but trying to build this idea of bringing entrepreneurs into the Midland, specifically into the beautiful state of Ohio, to celebrate entrepreneurship and capitalism and to show the resources that the state of Ohio has to offer these future generations. And so as we started building on that discussion many years ago, Forbes Under 30 was launched 14 years ago as a list that has celebrated, each year it celebrates 600 entrepreneurs. Our first lister was Daniel Ek, the founder of Spotify. We've had covers such as Kevin Systrom, founder of Instagram, founders of Snapchat, founders of Tinder, so many incredible entrepreneurs that have gone on to become billionaires. And really we started celebrating this list, bringing it to life in different cities along the coastline. When we started looking at where we could go with our next opportunity, the good folks from your team and you yourself called and said, hey, we want to take a look at bringing this to the state of Ohio, but there was a twist. And the twist was you have to do all 3 C's in the lifetime of the partnership. So it included kicking off in Cleveland, Cincinnati, and now ending here in Columbus. But what that looks like is bringing people, again, as I said, there's 600 people that make this list every year. Now in its 14th year, that list is, up to, in the thousands, over 10,000, is bringing people from all different sectors together of entrepreneurship, whether it's, fintech or social media or food, obviously technology and what's happening, that explosion for transformation. So for us, it's really how can we get these different intersections together at different moments to either accelerate their own personal careers, accelerate their businesses that they've already established, look for new and interesting ways to partner with both private and public entities. And so the state of Ohio has just been a phenomenal place and partnership for us to celebrate these under 30s. Sorry for the long answer.
No, it's been an exciting partnership. It's, in a way, it's a little sad that we're in our 3rd and final year, but I feel like the relationships have developed so nicely. We'll find other ways to work together and certainly to have that personal relationship. So before I get to the part I'm really interested in, which is you and your career and how you're dealing with this incredible position that you've got and your family, so honest talk about impressions before getting this view of Ohio, 3.5 or 4 years ago, and now that we're in the final year at the 3rd C. Give me some honest impressions of what you thought before you walked through the door, and then what your key observations and takeaways have been now that you're getting ready to walk out of the door.
To walk out the door.
Yeah.
So I did go to school in the Midwest. I went to University of Michigan. Sorry to say that out loud here in Columbus.
Well,
And
we'll let it go.
I have some kids that are at Notre Dame. So again, sorry to say that out loud.
It's Midwest. We love the Midwest.
Midwest, yes. So for me, I was familiar with the Midwest. What I wasn't familiar with was how dynamic and open the state and really all 3 cities were in hosting people coming from not only outside states, but outside the country. We host over 60 countries that come here, entrepreneurs that come here. But how different and unique each city was, how they had their own really just, as we say, vibe or just authenticity to them. And so how can
the under 30s say vibe, right?
They say vibe, so we can say vibe. Our kids say vibe.
Right.
But how can we authentically weave into that so we can really lean into that and showcase why a Cincinnati would be a great place to start a food company, or why Cleveland would be a great place to do something in shipping and sustainability, or what that looked like. So for us, I think it was really getting to know each city and then the whole state. But for me, opening the door was, wow, this might be a little tricky with each city. And then it was like, fell in love with each city for different reasons because of their own vibes. And then leaving, it's so hard. I feel like we're all family now. There's a lot of mutual trust. There is ways that we figure out solutions, and I think, that's why we're here, all of us really, is to really lean in to see how we can solve challenges and problems for the future. It's not about you and I anymore, it's really for our kids. And how do we teach, future generations, no matter where you're at in terms of business or, politics or geography or whatever that looks like, where's the solution? How can you come to that on a common ground? And that's what inspires me, seeing this. And that gives me a lot of hope right now.
Was there any, as you talk to the thousands and the tens of thousands of people that have come in, prior listers, existing listers, and your team is processing the feedback, are there any common threads that you've noticed, at least in the last 3, but maybe beyond the last 3 years, but the last 3, any common threads that are worth sharing?
Yeah, listen, I think everyone wants to be validated, and certainly Forbes stands for that ultimate symbol of success, like I've made it. But there's people that are at different parts of their career journey, right? And so if you're a young entrepreneur and you're looking for seeding, or you need to find help, whether it's, in something that is, collaboration to your business, I think people coming here to Ohio has been, I want to come to Forbes, I want to be a part of this Under 30 Summit in Ohio. And that to me is really validating that people still feel the value of that brand and want to be a part of making that list or trying to make that list, and what that means for the future of business and success and our young entrepreneurs in the world.
Well, thank you for that. Let's talk about you and the business. So, you started your career in the 90s.
Yes.
You've been with Forbes your entire arc.
Yes.
Also very rare.
Yes.
And in many ways, I started my career in the late 80s, early 90s on the technology side of the world, and you're on the media side. 2 domains that have changed dramatically. In many ways, the technology side drove a lot of that change on the media side.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about the industry itself and how it's evolved and changed dramatically over that arc to where you are now, and then maybe comment on your navigation of that process in the same company. Can you share some of your perspective on that?
Yeah, so when I started at Forbes in 1996, definitely dating myself here, do the math, we were all print. So the whole company was print. So we had, I think it was roughly 40 print editions. We were still celebrating entrepreneurship, capitalism, celebrating entrepreneurs, this future of success, Forbes billionaires, Forbes 400 rich list, self-made women. It was really about that celebration, which still exists today, and that celebration of journalism and either getting the scoop or celebrating, how our journalists are going to market in a unique way, which is really focused on the person, not necessarily the company. It's celebrating those, capitalists and CEOs and C-suite individuals that are driving change. So that remains the same. What has drastically changed in our lifetime, in our business careers, is tech. And it will continue. Obviously, right now we're seeing this acceleration. All of us are living through this, and it's so exciting. But at that teetering point, for me, it was 2000 probably, when the digital transformation was coming, and we were moving off print. The business was changing so much. I think because I was so young, that it was exciting, and I wanted to get on board of that change. And it didn't feel as drastic because it was the same brand. I knew I could trust that brand. I could trust the people around me that we would figure it out, even if I wasn't a native adopter or wasn't, the person at the helm of making those pivotal changes. But I could learn from those people around me. And so, and that's where we made that migration. And it took time. And then there was a whole new set of competitors out there that we had never thought of, never dreamt of, didn't even think would exist. And then those competitors started, it was like 4 years later, those competitors were no longer existent. And so there was a lot of There was a lot of hustle and grit, which still remains today at the heart of Forbes. And I think that resiliency that you have to, even if you're not the one who is, at the helm of, being truly understanding all the technology, learn from all those people around you, have people teach you and get curious about it. But just know that if you have a company or a brand or something that you believe in, and again, to me, it's still about that credible journalism that we celebrate every day, and the name Forbes will carry us through this next chapter. And there's so much opportunity, JP.
So now that we're entering, might be the steepest ramp in change with AI.
Yes.
And you are at the helm, where
Yes.
you are making those decisions.
Yes.
Without giving away secret sauce, I mean, how do you approach making those decisions as a journalist and as a CEO, now facing the implementation of this new technology frontier?
It's really tricky, and it's a great question, and it's a tricky question for journalism, because we don't want it to ever come at the price of our credible journalism, and credible journalism starts with humans. And so even if there is, a story or a list that's starting with our editors, and there's a part where we can accelerate something with AI, we have to constantly make sure that human is at that spoke of the flywheel, right? That you don't just have a human say, oh, I'd like to know who the richest person in the world is, and then publish it. That's not how we're going to be successful at Forbes. And so I think where we've started is certainly on the business side and processing, knowing the areas that we can experiment with AI and saying, okay, we can expedite this here, on kind of process and automation on the business side, learning from that. And then also, where are the areas that we're curious about? And certainly, if we're looking at graphics and design, and you'll see it come to play here at Under 30, some of the graphics, even last night on stage, were AI driven and were just spectacular, right? I mean, when we started doing Under 30 14 years ago, first couple years we did Philadelphia and then Boston, we had all this beautiful signage that didn't fit, and we literally had to throw it away, JP. It was like reams and reams of not only power, paper and manpower and just waste. And so now we're seeing AI just really change that, and it's so beautiful and it's so dynamic. So that's where we're experimenting and say, hey, if we can learn here, then where can we learn in other places?
So, 108-year-old company. The first female CEO.
Yes.
When we started our relationship, you were not the CEO. I think you were the chief revenue officer.
Yes.
So you're the first female CEO.
Yes.
How much significance do you place on that versus you were just the best candidate, happened to be a female?
I think for me, I've come up the hard way through the ranks in the company. I've done a lot of the jobs. I see a lot of the people that do the hard jobs in the company. So not everyone, and that's still a huge learning curve for me, is that curiosity and realizing that there is still a lot of work to be done to understand what everyone does and the role that they play in the company. But I really care about the brand, and I care about the legacy of this brand. I just feel like I have so much work to do here still at this company, even after 29 years.
So less about being a female, more about you have this tenure and deep understanding and commitment to the company.
Yes.
That gives you a unique perspective, in my view. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Very unique, and your customers love you. Clearly your people love you.
Yes. I hope so. I mean, it's really about the job.
They fake it well if they don't.
It's about the job. Listen, if I have 3 daughters and a son, I know I'm setting a good example for them and their friends and, hopefully my female colleagues. But it's about the job to be done. And our work isn't done here yet. And our work isn't done in media. Our work isn't done in tech. The work really making sure that journalists have a voice moving forward in this new age isn't done. How do we make it dynamic and exciting, and so that people aren't felt like there's 2 sides of this spectrum, that it's really one moving together? And we'll see that converge as the years, kind of everyone starts figuring out how to use AI and what that looks like in a responsible way. But it's exciting. And so for me, I just feel like the work isn't done. And I I feel so honored to be at the helm of it, and I do like to say at Forbes, we are a brand with heritage, but we are not a heritage brand. We are modern. Every single person in this company is an entrepreneur. They come with ideas every day that are bold and noble, and they come from all different places. So for me, it's about how do I listen from that. Last week we had a bunch of events during UN Week, and I really just sat down and listened, and it was so rewarding for me to hear from other leaders in the company. And then sometimes it's the film crew that afterwards we have a couple minutes with afterwards, and we get a few minutes to talk about it. And it's like, what'd you think of that? Or how can we apply it to our business? Or where's the path forward? And so right now I feel like I'm in this space where I need to bring people in, listen more, listen to people that I haven't gotten to know as well in the company or departments, and then figure out where we go forward. But there's not a lot of time. And so I feel like time is our enemy right now. I think I've always felt that way. I've been a little impatient, which is probably how every entrepreneur feels.
It's a good trait, yes.
But there is that moment where you really have to balance responsible tech and those partnerships that you can make moving forward.
So you mentioned your children and your family. So
Yes.
This is one, I've got a high priority I place in my family as well, and I've been grinding in executive roles for quite a while.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about how you create that family environment?
Yes.
In a world where you're going to have to miss some moments
Yes.
and some of the smaller times, and how do you manage that with your husband and your family?
Yeah.
And what has it been like over the arc of first having young children, now they're a little bit older?
I mean, it's so funny. It's such a blessing, right? You have 4, I have 4. We are so blessed to have four healthy children, 8 healthy children. So it's a moment that I never take lightly, doing both jobs. And yes, I have missed some. I'm going to miss a tennis match today. Sorry, Eve. But for me, it's the moments that you don't miss that you capitalize on. And so how can I listen, whether it's, going for a walk. Last night I took an extra 30 minutes before bedtime just to make sure on FaceTime that I was saying hi to everyone.
Rounds.
And yeah, I mean, we talk every day. I talk to all of them. And my husband, I have such a great husband. I have a great supporter. So I wouldn't have been able to do this my whole career without a great, spouse. And he's got a great career. And so I think we just kind of juggle it and respect one another. And, it's kindness. It's being kind in those moments, even when you're really tired, to say thank you and I appreciate you. And I think it's simple, but sometimes hard to do. And I hope that my children at least are blessed enough. I mean, to me, success at the end of my lifespan will not be being CEO of Forbes. It will be having these 4 children and hopefully
come home.
Hopefully grandchildren. No pressure to the 4 out there right now, but yeah, I think it's making a difference and knowing that the people that I care about know that I'll always care about them.
So what advice would you give to your 23-year-old self as you look out in front of you, especially in this environment where people are very independent, they hop around to different companies, they try different ventures, and making these decisions and how resiliency factors into the path that you charted for yourself. What advice, the key advice and takeaways would you give to your 23-year-old self?
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about failure, and it does sound cliche. I failed with a lot of people in this company where we had moments that were so bad, and I mean, we laugh about it now, but it did not feel like laughter in that moment because we're all super high achievers. No one says like, ooh, let me fail. Let me sign up to fail. I'm going to learn so much. But if you do it with a group of people that you really trust, there's so much learning there. And then you keep building and you keep growing and you keep, but yeah, I mean, there's hard moments for sure. I mean, running through airports where you miss a plane and I don't get to see my children before bedtime, or traveling is hard, especially as I get older. It's not as easy as it used to be. But I would just say, like, grind now in your 20s and your 30s, like, while your body is young. Take care of yourself, learn from other people. sometimes it's just someone sitting next to you on a train or a plane that you never know. There's a commonality, and or you just made someone's day better by exchanging what you do and what you believe in. But yeah, I mean, there's so much opportunity out there for young people. I'm so hopeful.
So exciting.
Even though where it feels like we're in a world where sometimes people feel like there's not a lot of hope, I look back on my 30 years and feel hopeful that these generations are going to figure it out.
So hope is outweighing cynicism at this point.
100%.
Good.
100. And listen, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, go back in the closet and just,
Hope's the only way.
Yeah, hope's the only way. And so you got to
is.
push through it, even when it's hard. At least I've been fortunate enough to find those moments where even when I thought it was really hard, either a friend or a colleague or my spouse or, just looking at one of my children's faces was able to say, all right, enough, get out of your head, keep moving. And sometimes it is just keep moving.
So you've hit this amazing peak at a company you've been with since the beginning of your career.
Yes.
Global media empire.
Yes.
You're the CEO. What's next for you? What happens next, and what happens next for Forbes?
Well, like I said, my work isn't done at Forbes. I really want to make sure that we're chartering this next path with tech and AI, and in a responsible but really dynamic way, JP. There's so many people I'm talking to. There's so much opportunity. And not to say that I need to get it right, but I want to make sure that we have a solid foundation in future so that the next generations look at this company of like, oh my God, look at what Forbes is doing. Forbes is on such a cool path. And that we're able to just expand and diversify in so many different ways, not only here in the United States, but globally. And I'm so optimistic about the future, and I just want to keep charting that path. So, yeah, my work is not done. Hopefully they'll let me do it.
You've seen the whole world. You've been all over. You do these events all over.
Yes.
You've been all over the country.
I have.
Getting to the close out here, what advice would you give a young entrepreneur if they said, I'm thinking about setting up shop in Ohio? Maybe they ask you 10 years from now.
Yeah.
What do you say to them?
I'm going to say two pieces of advice, and it sounds a little cliche, but every time I fly over Ohio, I fly American.
We don't like that word, fly over. We don't use that, fly.
No, this is why. This
Okay.
is why. As I land in each city, all I see is like this beautiful green field, and I land, and it's just that feeling of, again, hope, of like, look at this beautiful city. I just landed into this, incredible airport, or, I'm coming into Cleveland and I'm seeing the water and these great stadiums, and there's these beautiful iconic old buildings. There's so much opportunity here. And as I land, that's what makes me feel filled with promise. And again, just that each kind of, vibe or culture that each city has. So there's that piece of it, that as I come into each particular city, I feel refreshed and energized. And then I meet the people here, and everyone's so happy, everyone's so welcoming. Everybody wants you to come here and do business. And so I think, what an incredible feeling to feel that welcomed, right? I mean, you can go in a lot of places in the US and you do not feel that sense of hospitality. And so I feel like young entrepreneurs, even established businesses, whether you're relocating or starting a second office, as people come back to office, please check out this great state. There's so much to offer, and yeah, I love the people here too. So what can I say?
Well, appreciate you making time for us. A great Under 30 Summit in its third year. Great to be able to chat with a global media CEO, Sherry Phillips, the CEO of Forbes, first female CEO in a 108-year history of the company. By all measures, a successful, warm individual, great partner. Her team loves her, and they deliver outstanding results, in particular through this partnership. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thanks.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.